Good morning, good afternoon, good evening across the country, around the world. Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. We're here on the launch pad with this oddly shaped vessel here, at least oddly shaped around the fairing and the fuel tank just below that. But it's got inside it a satellite, and yes, now we are running at 4 times acceleration, the magic of video editing, as Scott Manley likes to say. I'm actually calling this, at least in my head, a Scott Manley style episode, because there's going to go back and forth between time lapse and talking, and then real time talking and whatnot. Hopefully it'll work out. Anyway, we're launching this satellite in a polar orbit. We're actually going to the south. I normally launch polar satellites to the north. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's going to go polar one way or the other, and it's going to do its thing. But I wanted to launch it to the south, kind of to emulate the stuff that they do at Vandenberg here in California. Not that I'm at Vandenberg, but way to the north of me at Vandenberg. They launch things, usually polar orbits, to the south, because where they launch to the south, it gets over the ocean quickly. And here it's kind of a similar thing because of the continental build of the continent that is there underneath, or with the Kerbal Space Center. So we go pop the fairing, we'll get this into space. We'll see it better later. Sorry, it's in the darkness. A lot of this episode ends up being in the darkness, and I apologize for that. Anyway, we go to the south again. I wanted to emulate kind of what SpaceX does here when they launch from California, as well as ULA when they launch, just for funsies, just because. But we are launching this polar orbit. This is a contract. I picked it up because it was a contract that was there. It was something I was going to do anyway, but it is SCANSat. I've done SCANSat before in both my other series. SCANSat's an awesome thing. Also, I put the biggest relay antenna that I have access to yet on these. It's going to be in a polar orbit, so having a nice relay antenna there is okay. It's not necessarily all that wonderfully necessary in a polar Kerbin orbit, because wherever you are, it's going to hit the planet and whatever. But I figured I'd do it anyway. And we're going to actually use the same satellite build to send these to, to Minmus and the Mun. There are also contracts for that I've accepted. I'll do those off camera, but SCANSat is great because it lets you scan the planet. It gives you information about the planet. It lets you learn about the biomes, a little about the altitude, and it shows you where anomalies are. My first series, I went through and found all the anomalies that were on Kerbin, and I think all of them on the Mun, and the 2 or 3 that are on Minmus as well. But for SCANSat, there's 2 bits that are on here, a radar altimeter and a low-res visual, I think, something like that. It's not described all that well. But it has to be in a orbit of 250 kilometers or higher to scan, and then as it goes through its polar orbit, it scans. It's great. I like the satellite. It looks kind of funny. It looks like a turtle with the legs sticking out, like turtle. I don't know. Or it looks like a catamaran or something. I just think it looks cool. So there's the 2 SCANSat bits that are out, and here comes the map. I'll resize it here in a second, but this is the SCANSat map. This is what shows you what you can see. There we go. I think right now it's showing the altimeter. Yes, it shows a grayscale of the altitude, I think. And then I switch to the biome map. The biome map is what I find to be the most useful. Yeah, there we go. Biome. Because it shows you all those colors across the bottom there. It shows you what's where. Water, grasslands, highlands. I'm doing this in the past tense. I can't even read it right now. Ice caps, north shelf, southern ice shelf, something like that. But it shows you, there it is in the color, what biome is where. On Kerbin, it's kind of useful. It becomes very useful on the Mun and Minmus when you go there, because you know where those biomes are. And those are the places where you get way more bang for your buck when it comes to science. Kerbin, I think I could launch, and I might launch something like a probe or something to the north polar ice cap or the lower polar ice cap, something like that, just to get that science. And this lets you view SCANSat in a few different map types. This is the projection type. And you can see there's a satellite, and you can see the little brown dots are where it's been, the blue dots are where it's going, and then a polar map as well. I put this on an 88-degree inclination. That way it just almost crosses directly over the poles. It doesn't quite, but the spread of it should cross across. And you can see it's slowly going there. Yeah, there I'm pointing out the poles. It slowly gathers data. It only takes a few days. By the end of this episode, we look back and you can see that it shows a good chunk of the planet. And there are contracts for these, so that helps too. Plus, once you scan, I think over 90% of the planet, and you transmit that science back, it's a bunch of science. It's a lot of science. So there we are with SCANSat. That's a cool thing to have done. And again, I'll do SCANSat for Mun and Minmus off camera, and we can take a look at those maps next episode after that. Here I was just looking at things. I don't know why I put this piece of video in. I think I was just skipping around. And yeah, there we go, back to the Space Center. Okay, so next, I don't know why I was swirling the mouse around like that. Next, we're going to go and take care of our manned Mun orbit mission. I went ahead and built it already. It's actually pretty much the same as, go away, the same vessel in some ways as Val's Duration Orbiter. Just has a bigger fuel tank and a little bit more solar panels and a little more oomph underneath, but the top part, the capsule, pretty much the same. No extra science, no extra finagling, but life support, battery, reaction wheel, and the parachutes. And Jebediah has the honor of going up there, to the Mun, and I thought I was, well, I think when I launched, I thought I was close for Delta V, and toward the end we see I end up with, I think, about 40 or 50 Delta V left. I did things a little more conservatively than I could have. Like, this launch was very flat. I could have gone a lot steeper, but I didn't. I maybe should have, because we used up a bit more Delta V using the Terrier engine on that Terrier engine inside the atmosphere. Granted, inside barely the atmosphere, but it's not as great to use it there. But it's okay. It did its job just fine and got us into orbit and then to the Moon and back. But the margin was very close. Although again, I was very conservative with the return trajectory. You'll see that later. And then we burn for the Mun. I kind of like the vessels with the two big wide panels. Like it looks, I don't know, it looks like a moose, or it looks like a vessel from what's it called, from Homeworld. Yeah, it looks like one of the alien vessels from Homeworld. So here we're just fine-tuning our encounter with the Mun. I try to finagle it a little bit here, but it's really kind of not worth it. I find it much easier to do the corrections you'll see in a few minutes, where we do them halfway there and limit the thruster to way low. Like, I think I did it to like 9%, and you only burn like 30 or 40 meters per second of Delta V, but it gets you in much closer to the Mun and saves Delta V there, because the closer you are, the easier it is, or the less Delta V it takes to enter an orbit. The further out you are, the more it takes. Oh, here we're checking out SCANSat again. Yeah, and you can see the path the satellite has gone on to show what it's scanned so far. I really think that's a really cool mod. Thank you to whoever's done that. I don't think it's D-Magic. It's somebody. It's a great mod. If you don't have it yet, get it. It's super cool, and it's an amazing utility. So here we go, burning prograde to bring us closer to the Mun. And I think we burn anti-normal, not normal. There we go, anti-normal to lower the orbit to be equatorial. Honestly, for a Mun orbit flyby, I could have done the orbit wherever I wanted to, but we did it nice and equatorial-like just to keep it kind of happy, because why not? And then we bring it in nice and close. I think I stopped, 50-kilometer apoapsis, and we end up with like a 27-kilometer periapsis. You could go as low as 10 kilometers, and nothing's going to happen to you, because there's nothing taller than that, and there's no atmosphere to deal with, so it doesn't matter. And here we go, time warping, in the sphere of influence, and go magic mech Jeb to get us into orbit. And we are orbiting the Mun shortly with a manned mission. There we are. We are technically in orbit, and I could see the message thing. He said it was completed. So I'll leave you with past me to talk in situ. And so here we are now in orbit around the Mun. Let's take, actually, why am I doing it manually? There's an app for that. Crew report, awesome. Keep that, and because it's Jeb and he can, woohoo! EVA report as well. Keep and then we'll take all the data, store all the experiments, and board. And out of curiosity, what in space near the Mun? Okay, yeah, we've already got that one though. Stop drifting. So there we are. We've gotten Jeb to the Mun, and we've hit a milestone, and we've completed that contract, manned Mun orbit. Now all we have to do actually is return him back, which is something we haven't done yet. Oh no, I think I returned a probe from here. Oh no, from Minmus and Kerbin. I haven't returned anything from the Mun yet, but that's okay. That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy to do, especially with the amount of delta V we have. So yeah, let's jump into that, because we're here. We don't need to stay. We can't get, we're in space near, so we can't get low. We can get high space, but not a big deal. We're gonna go ahead and head back and send Jeb home. Well, I suppose we can talk about this in greater detail instead of jumping into a time lapse like I was about to do. So I don't know if we talked about this yet. I can't remember. But to send someone home from orbiting a different body, at least in the same, in this system, we're currently orbiting the Mun, and we want to burn. It's going to be a prograde burn at the Mun because of our current orbit, but prograde to the Mun, but it's actually going to be a retrograde burn to Kerbin, to the Mun's orbit, going this way around Kerbin. We're going to burn that way, which is going to send us back down there. Let's make the maneuver node and watch. So if we burn prograde here, looks like we're sending out that way, but actually, whoop, we're going to escape the Mun sphere of influence and come into a big orbit of Kerbin. And there, up. Yeah, that's not bad. Kerbin periapsis of 83. This is only going to cost us about 300. We'll still have 900, so we'll have plenty of delta V. There are ways to do this. I mean, I could burn this all the way up to almost striking the surface, but I don't want to. I'd rather come into a low orbit and actually orbit first. It just gives me a little more control. The heat shield and everything can take a re-entry, but this is just gentler. I've been burned by this before, though. I think one of my first playthroughs I sent Val here, and she came in too fast, and I didn't really have any more fuel or any control, and she hit the mountains, and it sucked. This way, I can come into orbit and then choose my landing site. I can choose to splash down just off the coast by the Space Center. So this is much... Well, I like it. I think it's much better. It gives you much more control. Yeah, so let's go with that. Go Magic Mech Jeb. And so now that our maneuver node is set, we're going to time warp around. Yeah, like I said, a good chunk of this episode is in the dark. I apologize. And unfortunately, Planet Shine is not a thing anymore, I guess, which is annoying. But there we go. Burning toward home. Periapsis is set to be out of the atmosphere. Again, I could have set it to be in the atmosphere and done like aero braking or even straight in, but this is just safer. We end up with a very narrow margin of delta V. Oh, and there we go, getting more science, because why not? A very narrow margin of delta V, but it was just enough to get the job done. And once again, go Magic Mech Jeb, checking the life support, and we'll be in orbit in just a moment. So as we're returning, you can see we're going pretty fast, 3,000 meters per second, 3 kilometers per second. Normal orbital velocity is a little over 2,000, and that math works out. We had about, what, 850 to burn here? 860, I think, so that'll drop us down to about 2,200 meters per second. Again, I could have just done this to where he straight up hit the atmosphere. I could have aero braked a few times, but I've done that before, and that takes a long time, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. And honestly, it's kind of annoying. What is this? Huh. Low-resolution scan of Kerbin. Is that the SCANSat mission? It was! Interesting. Alright, even though it's not complete. Although it's been a day. We're not doing anything else right now. No, actually, let's wait, because we're about to finish this. We'll check that out at the end. Alright. So we're now in a almost circular orbit within 15 kilometers of Kerbin, which is good. We still have 103 meters per second of left of delta V. Oh, and we're like right over the space center. That's cool. So what we can do then is add a maneuver and break into the atmosphere. And trajectories mod is not happy with me. That's fine. We'll do it like over here though. Just that we are just, come on, just skimming into the atmosphere. I mean, that's only burning 27 meters per second. That's not much. There we go. So there we'd land almost on top of it. I do want to splash down. The ocean is just a little more forgiving, and you're not going to run into any mountains. So that we're going to splash down out there somewhere, which is great. Which is just fine. How about a little finesse? There we go. Yeah, that's good. And that'll get Jebediah safely home. Let's execute this. And now we got a moment. Let's check out SCANSat. Is this the little map? Oh, the little map. Interesting. So it thinks it's scanned everything, or it's almost scanned everything. Oh, it has almost scanned everything. Wow. Okay, let's look at the big map. Refresh. You know, it's only been like 2 days. Wow, it has scanned a lot. That's a lot of data. So this is very useful, again, for different biomes. Kerbin, it's nice. It really comes in handy, though, when you're going to the Mun, because the Mun and Minmus, because you can say, oh, I haven't been here yet, I haven't been here yet, I haven't been here yet, and you can kind of pick your landing sites. That'll be something we'll work on soon for the Mun, and the Mun Station and the Mun Lander. That's kind of my plan for that. Alright, so we're going to burn that retrograde burn. Ooh, it's dark. I apologize. Feels like a lot in this episode is in the darkness. I hope you can see this. And unfortunately, Planet Shine is not up to date and happy, so I can't adjust that stuff. Oop, there we go. Definitely gonna, you know, hit the atmosphere, or hit the ground. So again, let's not, well, I mean, that'll get us around there. Oop, stop, there, go back. Stop it. I want to eject the, there, I want to eject this guy that way. But we're going to quick save real quick, just in cases. Good. And jettisons. Yeah, that pushed us down a few meters. Big deal. Now we can hold retrograde and send Jebediah home. At this point, this is the same vehicle we sent Val up to do the endurance tests with, and we still have 32 days. So this amount of life support was something like overkill. But in case I didn't give myself enough Delta V, and it seems like I gave myself just enough, in case it wasn't enough and we got trapped at the Mun, this way we had options. We could have left him there and then sent somebody else to go rescue him. Okay, let's speed this up. There we go. Okay, good. We are in the atmosphere, and again, we can speed this up. My other piece should be falling. Yeah, it's right there. It'll fall down through the atmosphere as well, and I'll lose it. I didn't put any parachutes on it, so it's going to go bye-bye. Is that the space center? No, this is the desert. Again, desert is not so great for me. I've had problems landing in the desert. The game has crashed many, many times. Not a fun experience. Yeah, we should fly right past the, the kind of African-looking continent here that the Space Center is on. I find it interesting that we are on an African-looking continent. Even though it's played by a lot of Americans, and the game is, what, Mexican? I think it's made in Mexico City. Yeah, I've done this before with Val, and boom, those mountains there ate her up. No matter what I did, too, I kept losing her. It was really sad. Alright, so there's that guy. The other one should be somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, that's always fun, seeing the two different plumes of smoke. Alright, how we doing? The ablator is ablating. The ablation rate is dropping already, so that's a good sign that things are going to be just fine. Oh yeah, we're just about done. Sweet. And like we thought, oh no, we are going to hit the land. Oh no. Okay, and okay. Extra science is always good. So we're not going to splash down in the water, but that's okay. We've got parachutes. We've got 2 parachutes, so we'll be just fine. We'll slow down. We've still got a ways to go. We can probably turn that off, and it'll auto... Yeah. Like I said, once we get below 250, we'll pop the parachutes and land. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Although I will take surface info just in case. Yeah, it's not... It's like a kilometer off. That's because we were just over the mountains and the highlands and stuff. So, hello, Suburbia. I'm going to land on you. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Although I think it'll change to grasslands by the time we get down there. Maybe. I think this will all fade when we get a little bit lower. Okay, so we're 4 kilometers. 250. Parachutes go. Slow me down. Nice and gentle like. And then, of course, going to hit the heavy G's. Ugh! 10 G's as we come in to full parachute deployment. And there we are. And he should survive this landing just fine. Did we save you? We did not recover that. Yeah, that's fine. And then we slowly drift down. Oh, I guess the streets do stay there. So, sorry folks, we're going to land in your backyard. Exciting. Space is exciting. I tried to splash down, but trajectories... I think the trajectories mod... it says there's an update for it, but it doesn't update with SCAN, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, what's that square thing out there? Probably just a glitch. And we're coming down. Less than 100 meters left. We're going nice and slow, so I'm not worried about anything. Because we'll recover Jeb, though, and finish this mission and this episode. And we'll see where we go from here. Boop. And he's down, safe and sound. You can EVA here. Nope, doesn't do anything. Oh, from the Highlands. Ooh, surface samples. Yes. Good. So I wasn't sure if I had that yet, but I do. I have surface samples. Yay. Oop, stand up. And then, can you plant a flag? You can. Plant a flag, buddy. Woohoo! Sure, keep that. Ground landing. Oops. Just returned from the Mun's orbit. Not from the Mun itself. Us returned? Ooh, sorry. Just. There we go. That looks like... That doesn't look like a J. Because it's in lowercase. Just. That looks like a J. Typing is... Anyway. Good. So there we go. And we're back. Good. So we can do surface samples. We can plant moons. Plant moons. We can plant flags. We can do all those good things I will want to do when we finally land on the Mun eventually. Let's recover all this. Get some sweet, sweet science. And call it a day. Woo! So we got 117 science. That's awesome. We got some stuff back. We're just shy of 3 million Kerbal bucks. He's got 3 XP points. But he's still only level 1 pilot. But once he lands on the Mun, he'll get to that level 3. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you like, hit subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, pass the word. I will catch you later.